Are there things that are in there that I don't like? Absolutely. Are there things that are not in there that I wish were? Absolutely. But I feel like we're starting to move forward. But there was one fundamental piece that I really liked. It was about pre-existing conditions, where all of a sudden they couldn't simply say, we will deny you because you have this ailment. You have this problem. But let's imagine for a second, if we will, what happens if the real problem and the reason that the Republicans are fighting so desperately, and they're fighting with everything they've got now. I don't care what you have to lie about. I don't care what you have to say. They will say anything. What happens if the reason that the Republicans are lying about this now is because they have a pre-existing condition of their own? They're asses. That's it. I'm serious. Imagine if the real problem that the Republicans have here is that basically they're just a bunch of asses. They got nothing else. There is nothing else that they can do. If you think I am making this up, I want you to listen to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and this is Democrat, as she describes the treatment of women in the House. Now, you imagine this is just hyperbole. She's just sort of pumping this up. Listen to that first.
I'm pleased to have an opportunity to express and underscore my concern over the essentially what amounts to the Republicans' back-of-the-hand treatment to women, issues that are important to women, particularly women's health. What really shocked me the most was that at one point in the debate, my colleague Pete Sessions actually compared women to smokers and suggested that women, like smokers, should have to pay more for insurance just by the accident of our ability to get pregnant.
Now, see, when I heard this from Debbie Wasserman Schultz, what I thought was, she's pumping this argument up, and that, come on, even Representative Pete Sessions wouldn't say, well, because you're a woman, that's a pre-existing condition. He would never say anything like that. Well, would he?
But I don't think that those anti-discriminative practices are going to jack insurance up. They're going to basically even things out so that people
even them out.
Listen.
Yeah, in other words, why should a woman pay more than a man?
We're all different. Why should a smoker pay more than a non-smoker?
You see what I'm saying? All of a sudden, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she was not blowing this out of proportion. That is exactly what Representative Pete Sessions says. If we talk about pre-existing conditions, imagine what it means when an insurance company can actually do this. And we'll decide that, well, she's a woman. I mean, come on, women. I mean, women, well, they do this one thing. It's sort of irritating. They actually promote the species. Now, let me take you one step even further than this. Let's listen to a doctor who was formerly the head of the American Medical Association, who was backed by the GOP to the hilt, and listen to this man blatantly lie. And this is not just this is absolutely blatant. If this isn't pre-existing condition of being an ass, I don't know what is.
But if you have a problem, you would just say, look, I have a financial problem. Can you help me? And doctors will help you. If somebody couldn't pay, we just send them a note. You haven't paid. Is there a reason you can't pay? All they had to do was give us any reason, and we just wrote off the bill, forgot the bill. That's what doctors do.
Oh, I didn't know. If that was my mistake. I remember. I was so confused by this. I remember when our kid got sick, our youngest, and we got these bills for the tens of thousands of dollars over and above our insurance. And I thought, gosh, I have an obligation to pay these. How do I pay an ambulance bill that's $1,500 over and above my insurance coverage? And I had 3 or 4 of those. How do I deal with that? And the weeks in the hospitals, I didn't realize I could have just written a letter and said, guys, I'm not in the mood to pay this. And they would have just said, oh, okay, because doctors are about the love, baby. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this isn't a blatant lie. No, but I'm confused, Dr. Palisano. Because the number one cause of bankruptcy is health insurance costs, is health care costs. 3 out of 5 bankruptcies are tied directly to health insurance. And yet what you say blatantly, without hesitation, is that, oh, well, that's not a problem. So maybe what we don't need is we don't need health insurance at all. Instead, what we can do is get a promise from every doctor in the country that people can go for free. And that they'll just say, oh, it's all right. You just tell me that you can't pay. And that's good enough. Really? I'm pretty sure the American Medical Association, they're going to sign on with that. You tell me that Republicans don't have a pre-existing condition of being asses. You tell me. Okay, one last one. Let's turn to Dick Armey, the former Senate Majority Leader. And this guy may be the top of the heap. He is for me because this is a guy also with a PhD in economics who tries to sound desperately folksy with a PhD in economics. Listen to this comparison. And by the way, he's talking about you directly. Listen to this.
But now they come along, they say, irrespective of the fact that they've gone 20, 30, 40 years of their adult life without ever having bought insurance prior to getting a liver inflammation due to their excessive drinking habits or diabetes because they eat like a pig, you must now insure them. Are we now going to have the same destructive influences in health care because we're going to order doctors to provide services and so forth?
Yeah, that would be outrageous. That would be outrageous if instead what we're going to do is we're just going to deny coverage to anybody, and then when they have no choice but to walk into an emergency room and drop $1 million because of a heart issue rather than spending $50 earlier on by going to the doctor. Now, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go down that path. You see, this is Dick Armey, former Republican Senate Majority Leader, trying to make the argument because you, my friend, eat like a pig. Now, because you eat like a pig, therefore, it's far better off to let you die on the street. It's far better off if we allow that to happen. Or worse, apparently, the status quo, and this is the great lie. The great lie of the pre-existing condition of Republican asses is that what they would prefer is that the system continue as it has, out of whack, with people filing for bankruptcies, with this more than anything else, with millions more every single year, losing more insurance. And then ultimately, the only way to address it is by having them race to the emergency rooms in the backs of ambulances and dropping $1 million plus on each one of them, rather than on the front end actually addressing the issues. We spend double what other industrialized countries spend on health care. We spend double, and our outcomes are worse. And we've decided that this is good enough. The likes of Dick Armey, and this is the reason this guy is an ass more than anything else, is that if you realize he's not even arguing for the benefit of America or for Americans, even though he tries to sound folksy when he does it. Instead, he's arguing for a very narrow group of insurance companies who are making a heap of cash right now with the system as it exists. If that is not a pre-existing condition of being an ass, I really don't know what is. Tell me I'm wrong, please.